I'm sure you'll agree we acquire the skills of living successfully through knowledge. Knowledge, properly applied, is power, and knowledge is available, of course, to all of us. The degree of a person's ignorance will determine his or her place in the world. Everyone, of course, is born ignorant and must, for a time, live in ignorance. But keep this in mind. Anyone who remains ignorant has only himself or herself to blame. An illiterate person in our society is in the lowest level of our social economic heap. From that starting point, think of society as a pyramid with a broad base gradually rising to a high point. Now, we know that the great majority of people are to be found in the bottom large layers of this pyramid, and the higher you go, the smaller the layers. At the peak of the pyramid, you'll find the world's most brilliant people. We may not have the native equipment to reach the topmost pinnacle, although we certainly might, but we do control where we will live between the very top and the very bottom. We can most assuredly get into those top 5 layers up there, the top 5%. Let's say the top 5 layers of the pyramid, and from here we can live well and successfully all the days of our lives. It isn't that we want to be over anyone, it's just having the ambition and good sense to want to live the best we can. And the higher you climb on a pyramid, the farther you can see, the fresher the air, the better the view, and the less crowded it becomes. Another rewarding thing about climbing is that as we climb, we help most of those associated with us to climb a little bit too. Now, one of the most important ladders leading to the top is, of course, knowledge. The more we know, the higher we can move. But where does a person begin? No one knows everything. In fact, our store of knowledge is growing far too fast for anyone to keep up with it. It's like walking into the Library of Congress with its millions of volumes and trying to decide which single book to read first, knowing that even if you lived 1,000 years, you couldn't read them all. Well, fortunately, the answer to this perplexing problem is pretty well known. A person should begin with the study of his language, and then to his general area of interest, 2 steps in that order that can move us way up higher on that pyramid. First, the language. In our case, English. Not enough people realize that it is our ability to use our language which will determine our place on the social pyramid, and which will also control, to a great extent, the amount of money we will earn during our lives. A person may dress in the latest fashion and present a very attractive appearance. So far, so good. But the minute he or she opens his or her mouth and begins to speak, he or she proclaims to the world his or her level on our pyramid. Shaw's play Pygmalion, later adapted into the musical comedy My Fair Lady, is an extreme example of what I'm talking about. Our use of language is the one thing we cannot hide. It is the social determinant in the United States of America.